For more insight into the shifting global soybean market, my colleague Sally Ayhan spoke with Joseph Glauber. He's Senior Research Fellow with the International Food Policy Research Institute. Do have a listen.
You have to understand the global soybean market. Typically, the U.S. sells soybeans roughly between August and early in the year, say January, February, and then at that point, China starts buying from the southern hemisphere, so largely Brazil, a little bit from Argentina and a handful of other countries. But this is the time when U.S. normally would be selling its soybeans to China. What we've seen is that unlike in previous years, and you have to go back 25 years or so to see an effect as great, that China's actually bought no soybeans of this new crop. So the crop that's currently being harvested, they've bought no soybeans. There are no plans to ship soybeans right now, over the coming weeks. And compared to previous years, we've shipped as much as 10 million, or they've bought as much as 10 to 20, 12 million tons. So this is a big departure. As you say, China is an important market for U.S. It's about half of the U.S. export market, and we export about half the soybeans that we produce. So 1 in every 4 tons of soybeans that's produced in this country typically goes to China. It's not going to China.
So where are Chinese buyers getting their soy in the interim then? Have they permanently shifted away from U.S. soy, or is there still a path back, do you think?
Well, I think there's certainly a potential for a path back. I think all it would take is a resumption of normal trade relationships with China and the U.S., but that's not happening right now. So they are buying very heavily from South America. And again, as I say, this is typically the time where South America is not selling a lot of soybeans, but Brazil has been shipping a lot of soybeans. China's bought a lot from Argentina recently. And so you may ask, well, where are they getting their soybeans if they don't typically ship at this time of year? They are selling pretty much everything that, they've produced, and in some cases selling less to some of their other partners, trading partners. And the U.S. has picked up a little bit of that slack, but by and large, this has hit the U.S. very hard.
Right. From what I understand, farmers are trying to expand the domestic market, including in renewable diesel market that uses soybeans to make fuel, and by looking for buyers beyond China. Where are they looking, and how are the smaller farms fared compared to large agribusinesses, especially when it comes to debt consolidation is concerned?
Yeah, I think, first of all, in terms of where they are buying, you're right. That industrial use of soybean, particularly soybean oil, going into products like biodiesel or renewable diesel, have been an important outlet. That's grown over really grown a lot since the last trade war we had with China. And then the other thing is there are, U.S. soybeans are priced very low right now relative to Brazilian soybeans. So other countries have been buying some from the U.S., but not enough to offset that loss in China. So that's the main thing, and that's why we've seen prices so low in the U.S. I think those prices hit small farmers and large farmers equally, obviously. A lot depends on your debt and how much you as a farm household are dependent on farm income. I think, generally, if you look at a lot of the soybeans that are produced in the U.S., yeah, they're produced by large farms, but they're large family farms. I mean, these aren't sort of huge agribusiness conglomerates or anything. These are just large operations, and they are stressed by the fact that agricultural prices in general have been down. That quite apart from the U.S.-China trade war, prices have declined a lot over the last 3 years, and input prices are up as well. So fertilizer prices are quite high in the world, and so those margins have shrunk for farmers. And so to have a trade war on top of all that, that's what's causing the problems.
What's the outlook for U.S. soybean exports heading into next year?
Well, I think, two things. One is, first of all, what's happening to incomes, and farm incomes are depressed. The administration has talked about providing a bailout package for farmers that would, essentially compensate for their trade losses. They did that in 2018 and 2019 to the tune of $23 billion. I mean, a lot of money was spent on farmers. But what happened in 2018, 2019 is we planted a lot fewer soybeans. And because of that, Brazil was able to increase its market share. Just to give you a quick idea, prior to the trade war in 2018, Brazil accounted for about 45% of soybeans going into China. We were another 40% of China, where China got its product. As I say, right now, it's more 70%, 20%. So they've increased their market share, and China imports have grown a lot over that period. So really, in terms of overall growth, almost all of that has been absorbed by Brazil to the detriment of U.S. farmers. And I think this is something that oftentimes people don't realize is when we talk about compensation for farmers is, yes, these measures that were paid out in 2018-19, monies that were paid out may have compensated for losses at the time, but they did nothing to address the longer-term losses. And the longer-term losses are these loss of market share and other sorts of things. And that's the fear I have for a protracted trade war.